will be stepping in to help call the game. Kobe, thanks so much for coming by.
No, nice to see everyone. Thanks for having me.
Both teams extra focused on a win here as the Cleveland Cavaliers come to the Staples Center looking for a win. We take a look at the Cavaliers. Thursday's loss was a disappointment.
And they had a ton of missed opportunities at the foul line. That's always a game changer.
Even if you do come away with the win, you've made it a lot harder than it should have been. But that night, they just couldn't overcome it.
Look at Cleveland's starting group. LeBron and Thompson are up front. Hill is out there with J.R. Smith. And the trend around the league, Kobe, is more offense, more three-pointers, certainly spacing, fluid offense. Scoring is up around the league in a measurable way from, it seems like, year to year. Do you like the way this is trending, or do you think the NBA should maybe put a governor on this, harness it in just a little bit?
Well, I think it'll swing back to the way, I mean.
Do you?
Yeah, because the game has gone through that progression before. You know, it's constantly evolving. And so I think you'll see it swing back eventually. You'll have a couple teams that are just big and may have a dominant post player, and all of a sudden you're going inside, and then that team will win a championship, and then the rest of the teams in the league will try to copycat the way the game is played that way, and things will swing back. So it's just natural evolution of the game, I think.
About a minute played so far here in the first, and it's Ingram missing. And after 20 years in the NBA, Kobe, you were able to play with so many teammates. Can you make a short list of some of your favorites over the years?
Oh, yeah. Let's see. Pau Gasol for me. Derek Fisher.
And a quality person.
Oh, yeah. I mean, just the nicest guy you'll ever meet.
Yeah, right.
You know? And Derek Fisher, Ronnie Turiaf, who's one of my all-time favorites. Lamar Odom, Shaq, obviously, Robert Horry, Rick Fox. I mean, I've been very fortunate to play with some great teams. Horace Grant, AC Green. I mean, let's go. Ron Harper. I mean, I can go on and on all day long. Brian Shaw. I mean, I was very fortunate to have some really good teammates.
Still scoreless after 4 attempts, struggling to find any daylight.
Talk, Kobe, about some of the great one-on-one scores. You might be the best ever, actually. But when you take a look at the crop now, who are some good guys in that one-on-one category that you like?
Kyrie, sensation. Yeah,
great handle. How about his handle? Like one of the best ever.
Yeah, but he can post too, though. I mean, that's the thing, is he can post up. He can turn left shoulder. He can turn right shoulder. He can shoot a left-hand jump hook coming across the middle. He can pull up going left. He can pull up going right. He can attack off the handle. He can attack off a triple threat. You know, he's built the game without any weaknesses. I think most players, should be thankful that he's not 6'6".
You're right. He'd be Kobe Bryant then, right? He'd be Kobe Bryant. But I always thought that, and his dad played big-time college basketball, played in Australia. Your dad played. I mean, there is something inherent, regardless of how much, that comes from the son of a pro player.
Growing up overseas as well.
Exactly, in Australia.
Growing up overseas as well. And look at his game being so fundamentally sound and having basic structure. There's a lot to be said for that.
Absolutely. And that one, good. Kobe, you've made no bones about patterning your game after Michael Jordan. You watched him while growing up. Can you give us a little insight into the impact of what he meant to you and how he formed you in some ways?
Sure. Well, I think most players growing up, at least my generation, probably watched him play and saw all of the fancy plays, the dunks, the highlights, and things of that nature. What I focused on was how he got there. The moves, the timing, the fundamentals, the spacing, the rhythm. That's what I studied meticulously. And so when I watched him play, I think I watched him play a little differently than others. Having not going to college and all these other things, growing up overseas, I had to learn the fundamentals by watching and observing the greats, and to the most minute detail.
And Kobe, you played for a handful of coaches during your career. When you look back on it, was there one coach you wished you could have played for but didn't have maybe a chance to play for?
Greg Popovich. That's an easy one for me. Although I did play for him in several All-Star games.
Yes, you did.
And one particular All-Star game in practice, he came up to me and said, okay, do you want me to just kind of go through like a whatever practice, or do you want me to do the real thing? I said, Pop, you got to do the real thing, because I've been dying to see what really goes on inside these Spurs practices.
Oh, my gosh.
You got to give us a real practice, man. Yeah. And he did. And Tim just kind of looked at me and was like, dude, seriously.
What are you doing?
Come on, you're killing me.
So what was a Popovich practice like for you, and how did you try to set the tone?
It was high energy, and we moved from drill to drill. and it involved a lot of passing and moving and spacing. And so all of the shooting, it wasn't any individual shooting. All the individual shooting took place within a 5-man offensive structure of ball movement, of passing and cutting, and all of a sudden your shot comes here in the corner, and then you slide up to the next line, and you dribble, penetrate, and kick it, and then you slide to the next line, dribble, penetrate, kick, right? So it involves constant movement where you're constantly training and conditioning the body that you're not just going to pass and stand and be a participant, right? You want to be involved into that, in the action, not going to be a passive participant.
Offensive rebound. James dishes to Thompson. Good, and the assist goes to James. Thompson's got his second basket of the night.
And that one gives them a +5 rebound advantage, Kevin.
And Kobe, you look around the league and you see a lot of former players as head coaches, guys that you actually played against. Have you ever thought about coaching down the line?
Nope. No, I have not. Not for me. It's for them, though, but it's not for me.
I would think that it would be tough to try to get the same result out of players you coach and not comparing it to the way you play, the way you prepare, the way you were coached.
That's what I hear. I just don't have the desire to even think about it that far. I mean, it's not something that I'm into. But that's the challenges I hear. When Bird was coaching, Magic was coaching, I always hear that as being the challenge. But ultimately, you have to find different ways to motivate players. And, nobody's the same, right? So you just try to have to figure out how to get them to their highest level. But still in all, coaching is just not for me.
They should continue to get the ball inside. The defense struggling to contain them.
In competition, once again, Kobe, the thing that drives you so much, even on the practice floor, you and Jordan were so much alike in that regard. Is it important to go at your teammates and challenge them in those practices that you recall?
You have to challenge them, because if you don't, then they become conditioned to not have those challenges every day, right? So if you come off of a night where you have a back-to-back, for example, and you have a practice the next morning, it's our responsibility to step into that practice and challenge them as if it was the game that we just played the night before, right? Because if you do not, then you don't have that competitive spirit day in and day out, where then you feel like you can take games off, because you can take practices off, because you just don't have it in practice, right? So it's our job to bring that every single day so that competing just becomes a habit for them.
And you learn about their mental endurance, their physical endurance during those practices.
Well, you challenge them to learn about themselves, right? You challenge them to think about themselves. Can I push it a little extra? I'm going to have to, because he's driving me like crazy. And if I don't meet that challenge, I'm going to have to hear his mouth all practice long. I'm going to have to hear his mouth on the plane. I'm going to have to hear his mouth on the bus. I'm going to have to hear his mouth in the locker room.
Yeah.
And I'd rather just compete.
That's tipped.
In addition to being superb on offense, Ingram is also a ridiculously good defender. His long reach really allowing him to collect a good number of block shots.
Thompson misses.
That's one of those where you think you've got it, you relax for just a second, and then you're kicking yourself.
Here's Ingram, coming off a solid outing against Miami.
He can't find his mojo. Tough quarter for him scoring the basketball.
Kobe, a big part of the talent evaluation today is the psychological impact and that aspect, which I think will lead teams toward one prospect over another. If you were looking for personality traits in players and you were making that decision for a team, what trait would you value the most in a player?
No, curiosity. Without a shadow of a doubt, it's curiosity.
Why so?
Because curious people will always ask why things work or don't work.
And you were a big why asker.
Have to, because that's the only reason you win, is when you can figure out why things happen or didn't happen. Right? If you lose a game, a curious person won't point the finger. A curious person will say, well, why did we lose? Instead of just saying them.
Right.
They're going to go back and check the film and ask questions. Okay, why did we mess up there? Why did we blow that coverage there?
Driving with that kind of speed and power, LeBron bulldozes his way through contact.
Lakers trail by 5. Ball kicks to Caldwell Pope. The pass to Ingram. Poked away. LeBron against Randall. Smith with a wide open look. No good with the triple. for Los Angeles. They've gone 7 of 15 from the field to this point. Some say, Kobe, that the shooting guard crop in the NBA right now, a little light in terms of depth. Not quite as many top 2 guards as we used to see play the game. Who do you like among some of the 2 guards you see now in the NBA?
Well, it depends who we're considering the 2 guard.
Right,
now,
because they
the
just
ones,
blend,
twos,
don't they?
the threes, they all just blend.
Combo guards are playing some forward position. It's tough, isn't it?
Yeah. So, shooting guards to me are guards that have to do everything. You have to be able to play the post. You have to be able to play the perimeter. You have to be able to play the point. You have to do everything. So I'll put Russell Westbrook in that category. I'll put James Harden in that category. I'll put Kawhi Leonard in that category. There's a lot of players I'm forgetting. Even Giannis, I would say, is 2 guard because of what he does.
Yes.
So there's a lot of talented guards out there.
Would you like the ball in your hand, bringing it up, or would you have rather someone else bring it up, then get it to you in the half court, and then do what you did?
Yeah, that's the one thing I'm jealous about Michael. Because Michael didn't have to do that. He had Pippen.
Yes, right. Who always brought it up.
Yeah,
yes,
so he could focus on coming off the screens and catching and shooting. He didn't have to think about facilitating first. He could think about scoring and then passing out of double teams.
Up again. Controls the rebound and puts it back up and in.
And Kevin, they need to be consistent with their effort on the boards. You look at the box score, and they're at a definite disadvantage.
And really deep through that time. Hill's got 6 points. And Kobe, you talked about coming off screen. Some guys come off a screen and kind of just lollygag. You came off and you pass the ball and then get back at it again. Yeah.
Efficient.
Explode off those screens.
Angles, right?
Yes.
You got to be able to read those things. And when you're catching, you're in attack mode all the time. But then it's demoralizing to the defense.
I'm sure it is.
You're always on.
Yeah.
You're always looking. You're always checking. You're always in fear that he's going to attack. So we always try to keep our foot in the gas.
Always.
Our foot in the throat.
Yeah. LeBron, no luck.
He is really forcing things now. Doesn't have to do it because his teammates are picking up the slack.
Thomas passes to Randall. He dishes it to Lopez. And oh boy, a lot of contact there, but he gets the call and will shoot 2. It's going to go on Tristan Thompson. Well, Kobe, something that's such a huge tool in the NBA and the team's offense is the pick and roll, the screen roll game. You've done it as well as anybody. Just how are the nuances and the attention to detail important to make that play work?
Well, it's really important, but the screen roll today is run differently than it was, say, when Utah was running it with Stockton and Malone. What you're seeing now is more of a spread floor screen roll action where it makes rotations very difficult because you have to rotate off of shooters at a distance.
Right.
So now what you tend to see more teams try to down pick and roll coverages and sending guys to one side of the floor and try to play the screen roll coverage with 2 men and try to not have 3 guys in the action where you have to rotate and now push your team behind. Right? And that it's a dance of, can you play the screen roll with just 2 guys? And on offense, can I force you to have a 3rd guy come in and rotate? If I can do that offensively, then you're behind.
That one misses. Kobe, that fadeaway jump shot of yours is such a foundational part of your game. What's the key to that particular shot? And who's carrying the torch for that shot now?
Well, yeah, the fadeaway is there's different ways to shoot the fadeaway. There's a Kim Olajuwon way of shooting the fadeaway. There's a Michael way of shooting the fadeaway.
Oscar used to do it, and I know you.
Oscar used to do it quite a bit. So I try to use bits and pieces from each, depending on the defender that I'm facing. But yeah, there's certain players that are carrying that shot now. LeBron shoots the fadeaway quite often, as does KD. He shoots it a lot. Clay will shoot it. Kawhi will shoot it quite a bit off the pull-up jumpers and things of that sort. So there are a lot of players doing it.
Kobe, you were a player who lived in the gym. What motivated you as you go back and look at all those hours you spent in the gym to do that, to follow that path?
I loved it. I loved the game. It wasn't a matter of working hard. I didn't realize I was working hard until like my 2nd or 3rd year in the league when I realized here in the NBA, a lot of players don't do that.
Right.
And it was kind of a big shock to me. Like I assumed everybody in the NBA
just worked hard.
Yeah, but to me it wasn't hard work. It was like, I love doing this. Like there's no place on earth I'd rather be than be here in this gym with the basketball and the hoop.
But the greats are always the hardest workers, aren't they? I mean, right? Have you ever seen a great player who is not the hardest worker on their team?
No, I've seen players have great seasons. And, and then the next season, it's not so much.
Right.
And then they have another great one. And the consistency isn't there. The truly great players love what they do. and that looks like hard work to the outside work.
Did you enjoy playing the game? There was so much you put into the game, but did you enjoy the game?
I did. I enjoyed the game. I loved playing, the competition and all that, the getting ready and all that. But I enjoyed practice more.
Did you?
I did. I enjoyed training and practice more than I did the game.
Obviously, a mix-up defensively on that possession.
Here's Clarkson, and it's Corver in the corner. Cleveland gets it back. Clarkson dishes to Hood. And it's Hood again missing.
Well, you have to like their work on the boards, Kevin, particularly here to start the game. And the stroke definitely lacking confidence this quarter. Nothing on target.
Three-pointer. The shot's good from Nance. And the Cavaliers lead by 9.
And they keep hammering away at them inside, forcing the ball into the paint.
Here's Kuzma. Oh, and the buzzer beater's good.
What a three at the horn as they end the quarter on a high note.
A little joke right at the buzzer.
And so it's Cleveland with a 6-point lead at the end of the quarter. They've set the tone. They love their tempo. They're going to be very tough to stop. Back to the action after this word. And of course, as we've always seen with LeBron James, it's not just about the numbers, but his tremendous leadership.
I put all the pressure on me to be better and come through for my teammates. This is the position I put myself in. It's the position I put our team in, and as the leader and the guy that goes out there and make things happen, that's the way it's going to be.
Well, that there is straight talk from a man who does not pretend. LeBron James with a textbook example of how to take responsibility and lead.
And Kevin, that's why he is the king. He doesn't say, hey, I'm just one of the 5 guys. No, he knows who he is and what he has to do. Bottom line, he's the man. Climb on my shoulders, and I'm going to take you to the promised land.
Welcome back, everyone, to the second quarter of play here on Noche Latina. Vamonos. What stands out to you from the Cavaliers in this one?
I tell you what, that first quarter, you can see the game plan is a commitment to offensive rebounding.
That's their mindset, and these extra possessions have been converted into a lead.
And now let's check out the lineups courtesy of Gatorade, all fueled up and ready to go. Here's the second quarter of play. So the Lakers 5 right now. They've got Thomas. Ivica Zubac is out there with Brook Lopez. Then it's Ennis, and it's Kuzma in at the 3 spot. And there's the whistle on the shot. Took the foul, shot misses. He'll be shooting 2. And the Lakers get called for the foul. And with all the different technological advances in the league, you see a lot of player and coaches now reviewing clips and tablets and a lot of film sessions. I know you used to study a lot of the league's videotapes. How much easier is film study now, say, from the time in the late 90s when you got in the NBA?
It's so much easier.
Really?
Oh, my God. When I used to get in the hotel rooms, you used to have to call the front desk. And they used to roll up the TV on the wheels.
With the VCR machine.
With the VCR connected
right.
to it, right? And I have to have all of these tapes. And you got to put the tape in, and you got to rewind it, and you got to fast forward it, and you got to rewind it.
Yeah.
Now it's just everything's right there in front of you, right? And it's very easy to skip and go to the next game and then jump back to the game before or fast forward to the 4th quarter. I mean, it's so easy now.
So he comes up empty at the line. And Kobe, your spectacular high school career at Lower Merion High School in Philadelphia, in that Philadelphia area, paved the way for your NBA career. Talk about some of the highlights of your days in high school.
Well, my days in high school were fun. I mean, I played at a small high school called Lower Merion High School, so not too many people heard of it. You know, when you come to Philadelphia, the schools that you hear of are Overbrook, where Wilt Chamberlain went to school, Bartram, right, where Earl the Pearl Monroe went to school, right? But you never heard of little old Lower Merion High School, right? So it was a huge honor to be able to bring a state championship to Lower Merion and kind of put Lower Merion on the map. And that's the most exciting part about it.
Oh, a terrific story indeed. A huge honor, I'm sure. And Kobe, you've had so many fans from high school that carried over to your NBA days. In the stands now, in fact, you'll see fans with Lower Merion High School jerseys on.
How cool is that?
That's amazing.
How cool is that? You know, to actually be able to see a bunch of Aces jerseys in the crowd when literally nobody knew where Lower Merion was. There's actually a school called Upper Merion. So everybody used to confuse the two. It's just say, hey, yeah, I saw you when you played at Upper Merion. Say, hold on, dude. No, Lower Merion, man. Get it right. Don't forget it. Lower Merion.
And both free throws good for Clarkson. Hey, Kobe, in recent years, we've seen a lot of players choosing in free agency to join up, join forces, join friends, other talented players. You know, think of Durant and Golden State, the big three with LeBron going down to Miami. What are your thoughts on that trend?
Well, you know, everybody's got to do what they feel is best for them. You know, personally, it wasn't really my cup of tea. You know, I'd much rather compete against those guys and do it that way. You know, if winning in LA wasn't going to happen, then it just wasn't going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I wasn't going to leave and go someplace else and join forces to try to win a championship.
How about recruiting players, like, say, hey, come to the Lakers and you and I can do something special here?
Yeah, I mean, listen, that's fine. I mean, that happens. Players talk to each other, you know, play with each other. But it never crossed my mind to try to recruit another top player that I'm competing against.
Interesting.
You know, like never. Like I've always wanted to compete against them. So that's a little strange to me.
Now Korver, after the missed three from Lopez, the offensive rebound. And Nance kicks to Green. From deep three-point range, tries again. And the shot is good, dropping in off the front of the rim. And now it's an 11-point Cavalier lead. So timeout called here, the first for Los Angeles. And you think, Kobe, of these super teams, it's like they need backup. Like a buddy, like walking down the hall in high school with the bigger guy, right? I don't sense you ever...
No, but it's like, you know, growing up, I watched Magic and Michael go at it. I watched Magic and Bird go at it. I don't want to see them play together. Personally, I don't want to see that.
Right.
Like, what would my childhood be if Magic and Bird played on the same team? What would we be watching?
Magic's Lakers, Jordan's Bulls,
I mean,
Bird's Celtics.
Yeah. I mean, it's you know, and
not
even for Michael,
so and so is
I mean,
Miami.
if you ask Larry, you ask Magic, you ask Michael, they'd much rather compete against each other. Because you bring out the best in each other. They would have won every single championship from now until the day they retire if they played together, right? But that's not the point. The point is the competition.
And your team.
Yes.
Now Nance, after the missed three from Lopez. Nance. And here we can check out the breakdown of rebounds tonight between the front court and the back court for the Cavaliers.
And you can see the guards have been doing more than their fair share on the backboards. And coaches always preach that gang rebounding. You can't leak out until you secure the rock.
And he makes the first. A lot of different ways to lead in the NBA, Kobe. It seems like your leadership style evolved over the course of your career. Talk about that aspect of your game.
Well, in the first half of my career, I was more of a tactician, more of a floor general. And then the second half of my career, I had to really start thinking about the emotions of the group and connecting with the group more and thinking more outside in as opposed to inside out. But I was also, I was very tough on guys. I wasn't there to make new friends. I was there to help you be the best player you can be to help us win a championship.
Is it tough sometimes to have a guy that you were close to take some harsh criticism?
No, because the goal is what? To win a championship. This is why we're here. This is why I'm sitting in this leadership position. I owe it to the team to help us get in that direction. You know, we can sit here and be nice to each other and tell each other what we think we want to hear. And then at the end of the season, we can all hug each other and say, you know what, we'll get them next time.
You know, Kobe, you played 20 years in the NBA. Sports medicine and training becoming increasingly important for extending careers, keeping guys on the floor. How far has that science come in the time from you when you entered the league until the time that you retired last year?
Well, it helped me play 20 years.
Yeah, right.
You know?
But different methods all the way, huh?
Different methods all the way. I mean, it's when I first came in the league and understanding what sports medicine was at the time and the research on recovery, and as the years went on, more science research started coming out on the benefits of contrast therapy, of ice baths, and surgical procedures. Like, you know, if I would have ruptured my Achilles years ago, I never would have come back from that. You know, now, you know, my Achilles, even as I sit here today, it's like I never hurt it.
No kidding.
It's amazing.
There's Thomas with the three. Rebounded by Hood.
Another rebound hauled in. They're hitting the glass with a lot of passion.
Offensive rebound, out to Nance. Tries again. And he overshot that one, missing.
Lazy defense against a good score. Turns out not to matter.
Shot by Ennis. Nobody around. Second shot opportunity. Foul call that time on the way up. That'll give him 2 chances at the free throw line here. Let's use this break in the action to show you the teams that in the last 10 games have been the NBA's best fast break teams. The Lakers #1. The Cavaliers 4th.
Both of these teams have established tempo as an identity. I mean, they're playing fast and scoring in bunches.
Take a break. Take a break. 2 shots.
That free throw, no good. And Kobe, in your opinion, what's been the common thread for all these advances in sports medicine?
I think it's the minds. It's the minds of people in medicine that are constantly pushing the industry forward. And, you know, it's our responsibility and the team's responsibility to find these great minds and turn them loose, right? And trust them with the process, trust them with your athlete. But the key is you have to find the right ones.
And the second free throw, good. Well, Kobe, you look at all the former Defensive Player of the Year, and they're almost always big men. You were a 9-time first-team all-defensive selection in the NBA. Do you think guards sometimes get overlooked at the impact they have in a game and a play?
Yeah, they definitely do.
All the time, huh?
I think the bigs have a huge responsibility in protecting the rim, and those things are very easy to measure.
Right, block shots and
blocks
right, exactly.
Whether you're
Rebounding,
altering shots or defensive rebounds. For guards, it's tougher. But still in all, there's some guards out there who have done it. You know, Michael and Gary Payton and, you know, Kawhi Leonard, I count him as a guard. You know, they're just phenomenal defensive players.
Where does that mindset come from, that defensive mindset, when you're an offensive gifted player like yourself?
Well, I think that's a truly competitive person. You know, some players will call themselves competitive, but you're not truly competitive if you only compete at one end of the floor. That's not what true competitive people do.
Well, it seems like with more threes and more skill-based play, the league is adapting more of a European style of play. You grew up in Italy, Kobe. You know about that style. You appreciated that style. How did that impact your personal development as a player?
Well, tremendously. I mean, if you look at the era in which I grew up in Italy, you look at the players that came out of it. So myself, Pau Gasol, Manu Ginobili. I mean, there's a lot of players that grew up in that same time frame. That play the game fundamentally sound, because I think all the coaches here in America are doing camps and clinics for coaches overseas.
Like Hubie Brown, right?
Exactly.
He would always go overseas in the summer. Yeah.
Exactly. And so we were products of that teaching. So all of our coaches growing up were implementing the fundamentals and the basics of the game taught by these amazing American coaches. And so we're kind of fortunate in terms of the time that we grew up.
Just a solid performance on the interior. The rebounding has been off the charts.
Good, can't get it to go. Lakers trail by 11. You got to play against some great defenders in the NBA like Draymond Green of Golden State and others. What are some of the things that, I mentioned Draymond Green, that he does as a player that you think separates him from the rest of the defensive guys in the league?
He does his research. He does his homework.
You can tell.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can tell. When you watch him play, he puts himself in position before the offensive player even attacks. And how does he know that? Because he's watched the film. He studies. He knows the player's tendencies. And so when you mix in the research to go along with his frame and the quick hands and the foot speed, then you have a defensive player that's a force.
And again, it's LeBron James. James has got 10 points.
You tell me, who's better at making contested shots? LeBron loves the challenge.
Knocked loose. Out of bounds. Cleveland will take possession.
All right, a chance to check out some stats for Lonzo Ball. He's been dominant over the last month. He's around 10 points per game and 6 assists. And I'm not sure he can play any better than he has. I mean, surprising a lot of people with this play here of late.
Therein lies the question. Has he reached a new level in his game, or is this just a hot streak that'll eventually cool down? We'll see.
You look back to the final game as a player, Kobe, all the emotion that was building up for that moment. Then you go out and score 60 points. Surreal moment. Did you ever think for any moment that maybe I've got 1 year left in the tank after that 60-point performance?
You know what? It wasn't a matter if I had another year in the tank. It was just, I just don't want to do this anymore. I wake up in the morning, my body's sore. That 60-point game was everything I had left for that year. And to be able to have to, like, reboot that and reset the system all over again, no thank you.
People don't see that side of it, do they?
No, they don't. But it's just, nor do we want them to, right? We want them to appreciate and come into a game and taking their mind off of whatever it is they want to take their mind off of. It's an opportunity for them to escape. And that's what we provide. So that's completely fine.
And Kobe, how did you learn to watch tape? Because there are guys now watching tape and they'll just go, and you wonder if it's really even sinking in.
Trial and error.
Yeah, right. But really, that was it.
Trial and error. You start looking at things, you start saying, man, like if I'm watching an edit on a player and I watch one particular game and then I look at the next game and he's doing the same thing. And the next night, he's doing the same thing. Hold on, let me go back and watch. And then you start looking for consistent behaviors or patterns in their behavior. And then you think, okay, maybe that's something that's a tendency for him. Let me go back and check. 2 dribbles, turn. 2 dribbles, turn. 2 dribbles, turn. 2 dribbles, turn. 2 dribbles. Oh, my God. Yeah,
there
that's
it is.
it.
There's the pattern.
Right, so what if I interrupt him between his first and second dribble and throw him off a rhythm? What'll happen then? Right? What if I know he's going to go 1-2, turn right shoulder? I let him go 1-2. Now I jump to his right shoulder. Now you can't turn there. What happens then? Right? You throw him off of their patterns.
Well, Kobe, more and more front offices around the NBA embracing analytics. At the same time, a lot of veteran executives who have kind of the old-time group have been somewhat critical of that approach. Which side do you take on that?
Well, I mean, I think there's use for analytics. What they do is they tell you what's happening or what's happened, but you still need the keen eye to be able to understand why they happen. And that's what numbers can't tell you.
Put some meaning in back of the numbers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. It's tough to understand if you see a player shooting this percentage. His first 5 games of the season, he shot X. The last 3 games, he shot Y, and you don't understand why. The numbers will tell you that, but maybe he had something going on at home that was bothering him emotionally.
Yes.
Right, and therefore his focus was elsewhere, and so his shooting percentage went down. Right, the numbers don't show you that. It doesn't show you the emotion of a player.
Los Angeles shooting their 5th and 6th free throws of the game.
Take a break. Take a break. 2 shots.
The first one falls. Off on that one, so he goes 1 for 2 at the line.
And they're getting to the line a lot in this quarter, guys, and it hasn't been by accident.
Osman drills it from outside. 7 points in the game.
He has that swag going on right now. When the defense steps back on him, he loves taking advantage of it.
They need a good offensive possession.
Yeah, they've gone a long time without a bucket.
The dish now to Ball. There's a good screen. Bounces high off the rim and drops. Ball's got 10.
If you're only looking at the way he's played offensively, you think his team would have the lead.
Here's LeBron. That shot is off. So Los Angeles will take it the other way. They come in fresh off a win against the Heat.
Executed on the road, stayed focused, stayed consistent with who you are as a team.
Well, sometimes the away games brings guys together. It's you versus the world in that situation.
Now here's Thompson after LeBron James's miss. And it's out of bounds. Last touch by Thompson.
And checking out the numbers for England. A wonderful string of games he's put together here lately. 4th and 3-point field goal percentage. And with a top 20 ranking in field goal percentage, you put the ball in his hands and he converts at a remarkable rate.
And yeah, he's one of the dead-eye sharpshooters in the game for sure. A top 5 percentage guy from deep. Just a hard man to slow down. Hey, Kobe, thanks so much for stopping by and having some fun with us tonight on the broadcast. Hope we can do it again real soon.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for having me.
Kobe Bryant. And Smitty, you've had to guard Kobe on the floor during your playing days. Was it fun to get an inside look at how he views the game and what he sees from a broadcast angle?
Absolutely. You talk about one of the all-time greats. He was the ultimate student of the game, and just hearing what he feels about the state of the game and the players he's watching today. What a treat.
Here's ball. Following the basket by LeBron James. Off the pick. Randall no good.
They have been board dominant in this game. That's definitely been a factor in crafting this huge lead.
Smith kicks to Hill. Shoots over ball. Hill no good.
And this is one of those times where the coach has got to preach, be unselfish.
And we don't know that he hasn't. Maybe it's been falling on deaf ears. Guys taking ill-advised jump shots.
Count that one.
And not only can Ingram score from the perimeter, but he can also contribute inside. The way he releases his shot makes it very difficult to block.
James up top. That will count. No good on that last second attempt there. And so it's LeBron James making things happen for the Cleveland Cavaliers. He notched 8 points in the quarter and has that terrific basketball instinct on display. And now we'll send it over to David Aldridge, who is standing by courtside. David.
Thank you, Kevin. Coach, what have you liked about your team's performance so far?
I like our physicality. I thought we came out, started the game physical. That set the tone for us early.
Well, we'll see if they can keep it up, T-Lou. Thanks for your time. Back to you, Kevin.
Thanks for the great interview, David. And we'll be back for the third quarter of basketball following halftime.